Today, we are going to go over how to do a paid ad in Command, a paid social ad. So you can run this on your Facebook business page or Twitter. You can also run your ad on Instagram. You don't have to have a business Instagram or any Instagram set up. It's actually going to serve the ad through that, that Facebook owns Instagram. So it's going to serve it from your Facebook business page if you choose Instagram as well. So any questions before we get started?
Is LinkedIn an option too, or just Facebook and Instagram?
It is not an option. Yeah, just Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can also do a Google AdWords ad, which is a little different. That's not going to be covered by today. So I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen and we'll get started. And just so you guys are aware, it's only going to be about 30 minutes today. It's not going to take a whole hour. So you can get some time back. Okay, so I am in Command. Don't forget you're logging in at agent.kw.com. And where you're going to go to launch a paid campaign is this megaphone icon campaigns. And if you click paid ads at the top, this is where you can see ad results for past paid ad campaigns. I have not actually run any through my account, which is why you don't see numbers here and you don't see any spend. These are all just demos. But I will tell you that these numbers, so this is cost per 1,000 impressions. And then this is cost per click. And this is cost per lead capture. And it's going to give you your total leads, clicks, and then total impressions here, along with those costs. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click Create Campaign to get started. And for today's demo, we're going to click Social Ad Paid, the first option. Today's objective, we're going to be advertising a listing. You want to select that. And here you can select Facebook and Instagram. You do need to be connected in the settings section of Command with your Facebook business page in order to get going on this. And as you can see here, I can select Twitter if I want to, but for today's demo, we're just going to do Facebook and Instagram. And then click Create Campaign. And now it's prompting me to select a property. So one of the benefits of running your ad through Command, as opposed to running it directly on Facebook, is that we are connected to our listing feed, the listing feed of kw.com. So if you have a listing, you don't have to manually upload the photos or the description. Does anyone on the call have a listing that we can use for this exercise? You can type it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and just tell me what the address is.
Do you want pictures and stuff like that, or just an address?
Just an address. It just has to be on the market now.
Not pending?
Actually, I might be able to find it if it's pending.
Okay, 6901 Saroni.
How do I spell that?
SARONI Drive in Oakland.
Let's see. It's not pulling pending. I think like that's when our listing feed stops pulling the data.
Okay.
So let me try,
Oh, I have another one.
okay. Is it
It's a lot.
active?
It's a lot listing. Is that okay? Lot.
Sure.
Congress Springs, SS Springs Road, Saratoga.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Maybe it's because I was only on my listings.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, do you want me to go ahead and use this one?
Sure. Either way. Yep.
All right, so now that it's connected with your listing, it shows the price here. It's not going to automatically put that price on the ad. So it's just for our reference right here. And then the text, come enjoy and explore this one-of-a-kind picturesque 60-acre parcel, just minutes from historic downtown Saratoga. It's only about 4 miles from all the charming shops and restaurants in the stunning concert venue, the Mountain Winery. Beautiful. So this is a great description. I would probably just add in here some emojis. Should I do like a mountain?
Sure. And a sunset.
Perfect.
Oh, there's a
beautiful.
mountain. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is such it's like a hiking trail, you know, it's gorgeous there.
So yeah, I always recommend sprinkling some of these throughout. And then all right, so just sprinkling these throughout, and then for my headline, I would probably put something like so we only have 25 characters here. Keep that in mind. And for the headline, I definitely recommend saying that whether it's for sale, for lease, whatever is the situation there, to make it clear what you're selling. Is it a lease? Is it land? Right. So I'm kind of trying to be clear, but I'm also not giving, I only have 25 characters and I'm not giving the price anywhere. So some of the other tutorials I've attended, they have recommended withholding the price because it gives more of an incentive for someone to either reach out to you by putting in their contact information or to click through, put their contact information in, and then get to your property page with that information. So again, I do recommend withholding the price, but in the headline, just be very clear about what it is you're selling so that you're not getting people clicking, thinking it's something for lease when it's not, or thinking that you can just like rent out this land for events or something like that. People interpret things kind of differently. So just be specific about what you're selling in the headline. And then for description, I usually like to say, click learn more for additional property details. And then I'll usually use the pointing finger emoji. So here is kind of what it looks like right now. So I'm pointing the finger over towards learn more. So this is my preview. Here's that intro text, the main copy. Here's that headline, and then the description. The description, there is a note. It will be shown in some placements, but not all. Now I'm going to save the text and move on to
Change
media.
the website. Sorry, the
Oh,
website.
we will. We're
Okay.
not there yet. Yeah. So next is media. So we're going to go through all these sections here and configure everything. It's pulling this first image from the MLS. I can click change image here to view the other images and or just crop this main one. Beautiful. So I'm going to take this main image. I want to use that one and I'm going to preview and crop. So I'm just going to use this square orientation. Square orientation is the most optimal for both Instagram and Facebook now. So you do want to go in here and make sure you're using that one-to-one, and it does say best for most placements. You can choose up to 5 images. So I also love this image here. Actually, is this part of the property too?
I think that's a drone shot of the view, like of the area and some of the property.
Okay.
That flat area is not the property.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No.
All right. I'm going to actually choose a couple others, but you get the gist of how this works, right? I am just going ahead and clicking on an image, preview and crop. And you can do again up to 5. Which is the same rule that Facebook has as well. So, oops, once you have your 5, so I'm just going to use these 3 for now. You can move on to the next thing. You want to make sure you have your Market Center logo. It is required for these ads to be compliant. Oh, actually, you know what? I did skip over something. So in the text, you do need to add your DRE number in here. If your DRE number is not in the name of your page, because it does need to be displayed on the ad. So for this, I would need to edit down my 250 characters and then make sure I have that DRE number in there. So because that is, you know, a detail to remember, and sometimes we forget about things. I always recommend when agents are doing their business page, you set it up as your name, and then you're also with your DRE number as just the name of that business page, because that way it is displayed on every post because your name's on there, right? So just a tip. All right, so the media, we have our photos, we have our Market Center logo, and you can see it's on this preview here. You don't have to include the ownership statement. When you're finished with this section, click Save. And then we move on to Facebook and Instagram settings. This is where you confirm what page you're running the ad on. So Facebook is going to have you, or Command and Facebook, when you're connecting them in the settings section of Command, it's going to have you log into your personal page. And then it's going to recognize all the pages that you manage or have access to. So here are the pages that I manage, and I can choose which page to run this ad on. So here's my real estate agent page. And then for Instagram, where that position of the ad will show up, it does give you an option here, whether you want it in the regular feed or in the story. And people seem to ask me what is best here, and I don't honestly have a recommendation, except that you're welcome to run the same ad twice and then select the opposite to make sure you're getting that exposure for story if you chose feed. Keep in mind that stories typically, if you don't know what a story is, that is when you are looking at people's their sort of daily videos and they disappear after 24 hours. So that's what this story format is. I'm going to leave mine on feed. So it's in regular Instagram feed position. For destination, if you want to collect leads directly from this ad and have those leads deposited into your command database, you want to make sure this Facebook lead generation form is selected. Super important because I've had people do this and they forget to select this for whatever reason, and then they don't get any leads from their ad, and it's a mystery until we take a look at that. So make sure you're serving people the Facebook lead generation form. So that means when people click my ad, they click learn more, a form is going to pop up. It's going to auto populate with their contact information, and all they have to do is submit. And then I will get a notification on this bell symbol that I've received a lead. They'll automatically be in my command contacts. And it's also going to show up as on the campaign results in your lead section of this ad. All right, so I'm going to choose that instead of site or landing page. You can make it out of any situation you in. Just gotta focus on some goals and some dreams. Water those dreams and okay, button label, I did have learn more selected. You can also have sign up or apply now, but learn more makes the most sense for this ad advertising this property. All right, and here's where you can put a website URL. So Sarah, you mentioned it was showing up with that other random URL before. So here's where you can put, if you have a property page. So
SaratogaAcreage.com.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Oh, it's SaratogaAcreage.com. SARATO, yep, acreage, ACREAGE.com.
Great. So it's just going to verify that that's a valid website. Awesome. Also, it says choose landing page here. This is going to go to all the landing pages or website pages you've created through command. You are able to, in consumer, create a landing page to advertise any property that's on the MLS. So Sarah, if you didn't have a website, I would be able to create a landing page, pull in this property, display the photos, and have a lead contact form on there as well. So if you want something free or want something fast, or it's not your listing you're advertising, but you've asked another agent their permission to advertise their listing, that's one thing you can do. Go to consumer, create a landing page for that property. And here we have the audience targeting. I'm going to select use custom settings. Another benefit to using command is you can target people in your database with your ad. And what it's going to do is cross-reference their email addresses in your contacts with email addresses in Facebook profiles. So if it doesn't find a match, it won't be able to serve the ad to every person. That's another reason why if you have someone's Facebook profile link on their contact, that could be helpful. So that's an option there for you. Today we're going to use target a custom audience, and we're going to select, well, it automatically selected Saratoga.
Can you select
around the
both
listing.
the target my database and target custom audience, or
You
is
can.
either or?
Mhm.
Okay.
You can do both. You'd create the audience and you'd filter by tags to build that audience. So that's how you can do that. And then you want to select a radius around that listing. I recommend doing 40, 50 miles. People have a lot of, flexibility these days. So I would recommend going big with the radius. You can also do expert targeting and target people with certain interest groups. I'm going to actually pull up a resource for you guys and put it in the chat. It's a list that I've compiled of any interest groups that have to do with real estate. So here's my list. It's really only, I think, 14 options. And again, these are options that have to do with real estate. I can't tell you how people end up getting to be in one of these interest groups. I really don't know the exact answer to that, but Facebook determines who's a part of these interest groups. And this might not be what's best for your ad. If you are trying to cater to a certain type of clients or people in tech, for example, you might want to choose different interest groups than these that have to do with real estate. So that's something to consider. If you service certain professional industries, for example, you may want to choose those instead. So how you can add interest groups, I'm going to drop this in the chat for you guys so you can all check that out. So here's how you add interest groups. You click that button and you can search. So if you're going to do the ones on the list, and by the way, I would recommend doing more rather than less. If you do less, then it's likely to target, people with only those interest groups, as opposed to targeting more people. And if you really want your ad to get the most exposure possible and you care less about who you're targeting, then just leave the interest groups off. Just target everyone in the 50-mile radius. So here for interest groups, you can search. So if I'm targeting first-time home buyers, I can search for first. It's going to show up right here. First-time buyer and or home buyer grant, and then save. Another way you can add interest groups is just by going through these sections here. It's in alphabetical order. And if your objective is different, you are catering to certain professionals, you can just find them here or similar interest groups or professions here and click save. And you can select and continue to make selections. So then I can do a search for something else. And those 5 are selected still. So I can select everything and then save when I'm done. All right. If you want to narrow your audience, which I do not really recommend, this is going to target people that are members of these groups that must also match this group. It narrows down your audience so much that you're simply not going to reach the number of people that I know you're all intending. So I don't recommend this. Just wanted to demo it for you. All right, after you're done with that section, click save. And then we go to lead settings. This is new and exciting. What do you want to happen to leads that come from this campaign? You can auto tag them now. So I want to auto tag with Facebook ad lead. Maybe I also want to auto tag with Saratoga. And then I could create that tag ad. I can also assign them to a smart plan automatically so they can start to receive automated follow-ups. You have to have your smart plan set up already. Let me see if I have one for Facebook lead follow-up plan. So I already have one set up for this purpose. So ready to go. And then you select your duration and budget. So this is how long you want your ad to run. Sorry, the mail person is here and let's see. Okay, he figured it out. Sorry about that, you guys. So if you want to do a narrower time frame, you can adjust the dates. Here's the start date. Here's the end date. And notice today's the 17th. It won't start till the 18th because Facebook needs time to approve your ad. Total campaign budget. Here's where you can set that. So let's say I want to do $50. And daily per channel, that's $313 for 8 days. Then this next setting, distribute evenly across channels. I recommend using automatic placements. If you want to know what this means exactly, you can hover over this eye that shows up next to it. But basically, Facebook is going to optimize my ad and intelligently spend my money based on the audience and performance. So they're going to continue to serve my ad where it's doing better. They're not necessarily going to evenly spend the money on each channel. So if it's doing better on Facebook, they're probably going to shift some of the funds more towards Facebook. And then you can save. And then you can publish your campaign. You put a credit card in here. All right, make sure you put your credit card information in there. And then create campaign. And then you just need to wait for your ad to be approved. And if you're wondering what they're looking for with approving the ad, it's really just that it's not inappropriate. And also there is a rule that your photos can't be covered more than 20% by text. So if you've done some sort of design with text overlaying the photo, that text can't take up more than 20% of each photo. Okay, that is how to build and launch your ad. What questions do you all have? Y'all are very quiet. please
think
feel
they're all
free to
good.
go ahead.
No, what I mean there, I think they're all good. They're all quiet.
I was just thinking about it. So let's see. What differences are there if you do it through command versus doing it through your own? Like I've run a couple ads, not maybe a handful, through my Facebook account. Is there any differences?
There are a couple, yeah. So on the first and like best benefit is that those leads, they go directly into your database and you get notifications for them. So you get notifications here. If you have your Kelly app turned on, you get the notifications on Kelly. You also should be getting email notifications with the lead information. Also, because we can put them automatically in your database, and KW now has the ability to auto tag them and set them up on a smart plan, you can have them start to receive smart plan type, like at least an automated email right away. You don't have to worry about manually following up, writing an email, calling them necessarily. If you have a smart plan set up that's doing the email component for you, maybe the text messaging. These are low quality leads. These are random internet leads. Not all of them are going to be worth your time of day, right? These aren't like qualified buyers or sellers. They're just, some of them might not even remember clicking on your ad, right? So you don't want to sink a ton of time into follow-up, which is why it's so great that you can roll them onto a smart plan and have some sort of automated communication set up. You can't do that when you run the ad through Facebook. In fact, if you want to look at those leads, you have to download the CSV file every time you want to check, which is annoying. I honestly was so peeved by that. You can't do it on mobile. You have to go in on a desktop to check that, right? So that is not really that great about the Facebook ads, running them through Facebook itself. Something that I think is a big benefit to doing it through command. Secondly, how we were able to pull your listing in, and I did not have to manually upload the photos or the text. That seems really small. But Sarah, you've run several ads through Facebook directly. Did you find that for some strange reason, it does take like a bit of time to upload all your photos?
Right.
I was super annoyed by that process with doing it directly in Facebook. So I like having the ability to bring them in. The only thing that you can't do is like if it's coming soon, right? Because then it's not syndicating to our listing feed yet from the MLS. So if it's coming soon, then you do have to, manually upload the photos. But usually people keep it coming soon because they only have, they don't have all the photography yet, or so at least that's what I've found when running coming soons with people. They'll usually only have like one photo anyways. So the automation of just pulling it in, right? And then that other benefit where you can target people in your database. So that people don't frequently use because like, what are the chances that it's going to sift through and find matches between, the people in your database and the Facebook profile? But if you have their profile links in their contacts record, right? Because we do have a field for that specifically, and it's mapped as a Facebook social media link. It will find them. Also for retargeting. So if you got the lead from Facebook, chances are that that is the email they're using on Facebook. So you can retarget those people by, I could retarget them, and then, so I could go into the settings. I can select target my database, and I can select that, that tag for Facebook ad lead. And I can easily target all those people. So kind of interesting. I don't have any actual leads, as you guys saw. But yeah, retargeting, I would say, is probably a big benefit to that, especially if you're someone that does frequently run ads, does frequently have listings, right? And you do. Sarah, I know you have listings all the time. So those are the big benefits. Facebook, or I'm sorry, the commands people at KWRI, they are, I'm going to have to teach this again soon because they're working on some updates for this. So the updates that they're working on are going to make this section a lot easier to use and give you the ability to, you don't have to type in your interest groups every single time. You'll be able to save like a specific audience group with all those interest groups listed, and you don't have to constantly rebuild that every time. Currently, you do have to rebuild it every time. However, you can duplicate an ad that you've already used these interest groups on, and that way avoid typing them in. So if you have an ad that worked really well for you, you want to just reuse most of those settings, you're just changing maybe the city. You can just duplicate the ad, change the listing out. So you're gonna change the listing here, change the text, change the media, and then you're gonna change the city if it's a different city or area. And then you'll see all your interest groups from that last ad you ran show up. So if you want a shortcut, you want to avoid doing that work twice before, KW does this fabulous update eventually, that's the way to do it. Another thing they're also working on is a way to give you the estimated number of people in this audience group, right? Because right now we don't have a gauge of like how big that audience size is on this screen. It does give us numbers when we're adding the interest groups, like estimated audience size here. But it'd be nice to have that here. So they're working on that at KWRI. They're making improvements on this slowly but surely. All right, thank you everybody for attending. I appreciate your time so much. Hope you enjoyed today's class.